Snowman! First you were tall, then you were small. Now you're just coal and some sticks. And a hat. The sun has melted you again. Here it comes, 'cause I'm making a snowman. Here it goes, 'cause I'm making a snowman. What's down? That's fine, and now he's gone. Come and we start to win. 6 foot, 3 foot, 1 foot, gone.
Yeah, sounds great. I've decided to do mine in the form of a monologue, so I will speak in first person for the individual to whom this story belongs. Hi there, my name is Parley P. Pratt. And one of my early missions of the church found me before a judge amongst false charges. And after several hours of not saying anything, I finally pointed at the jury and said, hey guys, this is your last chance to repent and let me go, or heaven help you. Well, they didn't drop the charges and decided to hold me overnight before they took me to prison. Well, there was a nice prison guard by the name of Mr. Peabody who slept with me that night in the house because the jail was pretty far away. And the next morning, there we were, sitting there, eating breakfast. It was a mighty fine breakfast, Mr. Peabody. And then I said to him, Mr. Peabody, it's a mighty fine afternoon, morning. Do you mind if I take a little breather in the public square? So off I walked out into the public square and looked at the beautiful scenery around me. And there was Mr. Peabody next to me with his nice, big pit bull. And if you've ever seen a pit bull, you young folks, you know you don't mess with pit bulls. Mr. Peabody told me that that pit bull has run down many a man. And no man has ever gotten away from that pit bull. Now, mind you, I didn't want to go to prison, and I felt like the Lord could provide and intervene. So I said to Mr. Peabody, do you like a good race race, sir? And he didn't quite know what I was talking about, so I asked him again. It's a mighty fine day for a race, don't you think, Mr. Peabody? You know, when you run. And he said, not quite sure what you mean. So I looked at him and thanked him for his kindly services over the last day, and let him know that I really appreciated what he had done. And then, off I started to trot a little bit. I looked back at him and said, hey, Mr. Peabody, you want to come on a race with me, Harley P? Off I was trotting. I got about 200 yards away before he was less astonished enough to realize that I was trying to escape. At which time he pointed and shouted to his dog, Stu boy, get him! Down with that man! And off I ran as fast as I could until it came up to me. And when the pit bull was right on my heels, I prayed to the Lord to know what to do. And that's when I had an idea. I pointed my hand in the same direction as Mr. Peabody and shouted in the same frame of voice, Stu boy, away with you! Down with that man! And I just stood there. And off the dog went into the woods, chasing after nobody. I met up with the brethren that evening and continued on with my mission. And Mr. Peabody, he ended up joining the church and starting a branch there in that city of over 60 folks. And that's my story of Harley P.
One of my favorite pioneer stories was about an old Danish man. He was in a Danish company that was coming to Utah in 1857. Now this man had completely lost his sense of smell. So when all the men were gathering up supplies for the trip, some of them went and hunted down some buffalo and other big game. And so this man thought, well, he wanted to contribute something. So he went out and got him a skunk, brought it back to camp, said we could put it in soup. All of us men took off because we didn't realize he stunk like a skunk.
Well, howdy y'all, my name's Willard Bean, and I served 2 missions for the church, and one of my missions lasted 25 years. I was called to serve in Palmyra, New York, the first Mormon missionary back to Palmyra. Before I was a missionary, I was a boxer, a champion boxer. I was the middleweight champion of the United States. And I was called, before I got called to Palmyra, I was called as a missionary to the southern states of the United States. And back then, they didn't like Mormons very much down south. And one day, my companion and I, we were walking along, and all of a sudden, here comes a mob of people ready to beat us up. And they said, hey, Mormons, show us a sign. Stay modest and show us a sign. And I said, okay, all right, we'll show you a sign, but I'd appreciate it if you let my companion go because he's kind of new at this, and I don't want him to be around for it. They said, all right, go ahead. So I let my companion get off about a quarter mile when I saw he was off the ways, and I turned back to the leader of the mob and I said, I'll show you a sign. I will strike you blind. And so I pulled back with my left fist, no, my other left. I pulled back with my left fist and I popped him in the eye. And then quick as a flash, I popped him in the other eye with my right fist. And then I turned around and I started running. And then when I caught up with my companion, I said, run for your life, Ellen, it's coming. So, those are our stories of pioneers in many different ways. And we wanted to share those stories to let you know that everybody has a little bit of pioneering. We love the pioneers because of their faith, because of the courage that they showed us. But we can have as much faith and courage as those pioneers. And they all belong to us. when we chose to join this church, even if we don't have blood ancestors who crossed the plains, we can claim all of those people as ours. And we can share in their love and courage and faith as well. And you might notice that I'm looking a little scruffy this morning. I got to clean up before Bishopric tomorrow, right? So we thought we'd give you a little show as to how we get ready for Bishopric in the morning. What time we got to be there?
6:30.
6:30 in the morning. So first, we got to shave. That's the first thing we do every morning. We wake up. We get some good shaving cream and just smear it all over. Oh, yeah. Usually it's a little warmer for some reason. Then we get our razors out.
Just rip it. And sometimes, and then I peel it nice and evenly on both sides so that it just looks so delicious. And then I just slowly eat it on my way while I'm walking down to the church. Just nice and slow. That's good protein. Now I'm ready. How about you?
I like cereal for my breakfast. Oh boy, I did a good job for it, didn't I? Woo-wee. Raisin Bran puts hair in the chest. I need a lot of hair in the chest.
Sometimes when I don't get to eat, I like to sneak a pie on the way to church so Natalie doesn't know about it. She'll make a pie for Sunday dinner and I'll just pick it up and drive with me on the way to church and stare with my knees and then just dig into the pie. Meeting that's full of food and love and lots of sharing. So remember, the pioneers were great people because of their faith and love and courage, and so are you. Thanks!